He's a maniac.
Hello, ZPA community. Renee and I were just laughing right when we went live here. But hey, this is our Monday night webcast. We just did our Facebook Live, and if you're sharing or building ZP8, this is the webcast you're part of. And we have a real special one for you tonight. It's all about taking your story and actually implementing 3 simple steps to really create and lead your community with your story. But before we dive in, before I have a couple announcements, we must give a warm welcome to our best-selling author, health guru, and headband wearer. I feel like I'm back in the 70s. Renita Brandon, nice headband.
Woo! Let's go.
Renita, tell us why you have that headband on tonight.
Oh, you want to know the story? Okay, so, I started teaching Sky Zone, Sky Fit classes. We've got like Sky Zen, we've got Sky Lotties, we got all these amazing Sky Strong, and they also sell Zen shakes there, which I'm super fired up. That's a whole nother story because that's a Sky Zone. Anyway, so I taught class today, and the microphone's kind of big for my head, so I either have to wear a headband or a hat for the microphone to fit on my head. So I was just downstairs. I was telling Mark this, and my oldest son goes, "Mom, why do you have that headband on?" He's 16, super cool. And I said, "Because I haven't taken it off since Sky Zone today." He's like, "Mom, what's wrong with you? You haven't showered since Sky Zone?" I had a lot of clients, Mark, back to back, weighing and measuring. You know how it goes. How
old is Bo? 17?
He's 16.
Sounds like a 16-year-old that doesn't have a lot of responsibility compared to us.
Right, exactly. I think it's hip. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's always cool. And we have to do a whole segment on what you're doing with Sky Zone and everything. So that's future. But this is, just everyone watching, we've talked about how Renita's created a health movement throughout North Dakota. And she has the Zen Fuse Shake Shop at the coffee shop. Now Sky Zone is doing Zen Shakes, and that's going to become a duplicatable model. And next week, we're going to have Melissa Boston on, who's doing amazing stuff in Chicago and Bermuda. That will be our first official guest of 2017, Renita. So Melissa's a powerhouse, so it's going to be fun. And we're going to have some great stories that she can share with you. But tonight is about your story. I do want to, before we cover that, I just want to give you guys a couple updates. On the Facebook Live, I thanked everyone just for the community because it started a year ago right there in that Facebook group. And, we're over 14,000 strong in that little closed Facebook group. It's moving to 15,000. We're launching Australia. We're doing the pilot. We're launching Europe. Got a text today. We got a call tomorrow about Chile. The movement gets stronger and stronger. And the power of the sharing and building webcasts is each of you, starting in the States, and Canada's coming. We know the Canadians. You're part of this whole thing through North America, but I know Fuse isn't there yet. It's coming, though. Mm-hmm. But think about everyone in Australia, in Europe. So as you're leading this, as you're sharing your story, these become great ways where you can expand your outreach. So as ZP8 grows, you've built your brand, you're building your movement, and you can reach out to people all around the world that can do that. Renita, you just connected with an Australian crew, correct?
Yeah, so we're really fired up about that. The bottom line is that we got somebody started over here in the U.S. who has Australian contacts, and they're actually amazing. They're going to be it's like a tennis pro over there that is going to be rocking it, and also has connections in Europe, Mark, and also over in Argentina, I believe. So when you say Chile, that gets me fired up too. I mean, we're all one person away, right? From moving this from maybe your neighbor, your community, to really a global initiative here, Mark. This is very exciting stuff.
Yeah, and everyone on Wednesday, I just talked to Bonnie. On Wednesday, 2 big things are dropping. We have a powerful, it's about a 3-minute video about Zen Project 8, but it's really about the products, the Zen Body product line, when we look at the Fuse, the Prime, the Shape, and the Fit. So it's going to be a great video to share. That's going to become the new state video, Canadian video, and international video for ZP8 and the product line. In addition, I finished writing a blog today, and that's launching on Wednesday as well. I'll share that in the group. It's the blog I've been wanting to wear a long time. It's really the power of the Zen Project 8 movement. What is Zen Project 8? We get asked that all the time. When someone asks you that, you share them in this blog. Next week, we're going to have a video of me direct to camera with great little pictures inside of it. You know, so it's a great interactive that will support that blog. So those are important. Someone says, what is the Zen product about? You now have the video, and you're going to have the Why Supplements Matter and the Zen Fuse blog. So you have these tools, video and blogs. Then when someone says, what's Zen Project 8? You're going to have the actual blog and then the video. So these are things, comparing all the other things you have at your fingertips, these are great tools that can make your life much easier so you don't have to be the expert.
Love it, Mark. I love it. Like when you just say that, that gets me so excited because I know I am the expert and I can answer all the questions, but it's not a duplicatable model. I can't duplicate myself if I don't eventually point and promote to what you have going on, because what you have going on is even more powerful than what I have going on. And if I can just point to that and teach my team to point to that, you know, it kind of gets their head in the game that they don't have to be necessarily certified personal trainer or certified anything to really rock the Zen Project 8. If you've got a life experience and you're passionate about people and sharing that message, you can rock this. And having those tools that Mark's talking about are crucial to success, I would say.
Yeah, and that leads us right into tonight's topic about the story. We're going to spend about 15 minutes on this, and I want everyone to get their pen and paper out, because what we're going to do is simple. There's 3 simple steps. I had a great conversation with my buddy Gray Gray, and he's on Wanda Becca's team, and he's a celebrity hairstylist in Hollywood. And Gray and I were just having a conversation about his story, and his stories are incredible. He has his own life story, he has his Zen story, and then he has his business entrepreneur story. And these, and we talked about strategies on fine tuning that, because the problem with stories is, as great as they can be, if they're not connected, if it's not a powerful impact, if it's too long, it can distract people. So this is going to be an assignment for everyone tonight. And please, you know, being a storyteller, through all of my presentations I've done throughout the world, and just writing books, I've learned the power of telling a story. And I've had great coaching on it as well. So my feedback tonight is this: listen, take notes, and then over this week, write out your stories, then get your phone out or a camera out and practice sharing your story. Practice, practice, practice. Before you talk to anyone about it, get it in your head. So Renita, I'll start. I'm going to give the first tip. Well, sure. Let me walk through the 3 steps, and then I'll share my story, and we'll go back and forth, kind of sharing how we're sharing the story. So first tip is this: write this down. The number 1 step when you telling something is, why does my story matter? So everyone write that down. Why does my story matter? The second step: how does my story inspire others? So as you're looking at the story, why does my story matter? How does my story inspire others? And the third step is, what is the call to action from my story? So you think about the why it matters, how it helps others, and what is the call to action. And I'm going to share my quick health story. And I want you to think about it as I share this story, how it connects to everything. And this isn't about Zen story. This is just about my overall health story, where I'm thinking about it. So first one, why does my story matter? So when I think of my story, my personal story, my challenges with my health inspires anyone else that has walked my shoes, that are in where I was, and I know that I can inspire them to take another step. So let me walk through those. So this, I would say, you know, hey, I'm Mark McDonald, and you know, I grew up watching my mom struggle with weight. I saw her lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and I just couldn't understand as a kid why people suffered with their body so much. And I vividly remember watching her crying on her bed, looking up and saying, I failed again. I regained everything. And, you know, I didn't really get that until after I was done playing soccer, because as an athlete, I could eat whatever I wanted, right? We always could do that. But what did I do? I went on, I kept eating the way I was eating as an athlete, and I stopped exercising. And for 6 months, I went on what I called the pizza diet, and I put on 60 pounds in 6 months. And I stepped on that scale, looked in the mirror, and I'm like, what did I do? I didn't even see it. And I freaked out, cut my calories, cut my carbs, dropped all my body fat down to 4%, looked amazing, and felt horrible. And for the next 2 years, I suffered as a fitness model in LA. And what I had to realize was, watching my mom struggle with dieting, watching myself as an athlete, watching myself struggle with dieting, is that there just had to be a better way. And I learned about something called eating PFC every 3, blood sugar stabilization, back in 1999. And I started teaching people that you don't have to use food to lose weight. You can use it to create hormonal balance. And that's really the solution here. You know, I know people struggle with dieting and everyone wants a quick fix, but nothing is quick and easy that's going to be permanent. But there's a way to eat the food that you love and get the results that you want. And if that's you, here's a solution for that. And it's simple. There's a program called Zen Project 8, and it teaches you how to take those foods in a very simple way and eat every 3 hours a balance of protein, fat, carbohydrates, a powerful product line that fills your nutritional gaps. Not using supplements to be the end all be all, but using supplements exactly how they should be to fill your gaps and win. And then we have a community, because I watch my mom, I watch myself as we struggle. We all fall off plan, and the community is your corner man and sets you up to win. So something like that, that's a story. And I just want you to remember, I talked about why my story matters. So I connected with the audience. I inspired them on, you know, what I did, and I found a better way. And then the call to action was, you know, you can get started. I started to lead them down that path, and I could have ended that story with a call to action. So, you know, if this is something you're interested in, or I'm having a conversation with them, you know, check out my website. Here's a blog for you as the conversation flows. So that was more like a video story, but if it's a conversation, it's the same overall story. It's just throughout the conversation. Okay, so Renita, why my story matters, how does it inspire others, and what's the call to action? You give us a story now.
Well, my story is that I was not always healthy. I mean, and sometimes people look at a health coach or somebody in this industry and they just think, wow, you must have always eaten like this. And honestly, I mean, I smoked cigarettes. I drank lots of pop, lots of Mountain Dew when I was a kid. I wasn't raised in a healthy environment. My mother didn't chronically diet, but she didn't chronically care about nutrition. You know what I mean? She had no knowledge of it. And so growing up, I was really sickly as a child, really unhealthy, in the hospital numerous times. They never knew what was wrong with me. Looking back, I just tell you, I was malnourished and I had way too much sugar. And so what happened was, after I actually got pregnant with my son, Bo, who's now 16, the guy who's riding me about my headband, I realized that nutrition really mattered, because right before I got pregnant with Bo, I actually was Miss Fitness North Dakota, Mark. And a lot of people might not know this, but I actually was starving myself. I would say I would be definitely considered anorexic when I look back at it. I was eating under 1,000 calories a day, eating under 10 grams of total fat, taking all sorts of crazy pills that made me just like insane. And my hair was falling out in handfuls. I mean, I was just chronically malnourished. I was exercising probably 5 hours a day. It was crazy. And so, but yet I was Miss Fitness North Dakota. So it was always so, I felt like after I had won that, and I realized when I was in the shower and trying to peel off my swimsuit from the competition, and they had announced me as Miss Fitness North Dakota, I thought, if this is what fitness and health feels like, this feels like complete hell. And so I realized that people are out there, they're doing it the wrong way. They don't know how to do it. They're starving themselves. They're taking these pills. They're over-exercising. And so I really had a passion at that point. There's got to be something I'm missing. And so I kind of poured myself into nutrition. When I had the birth of my son, Bo, we really struggled with a lot of medications and things with him. His first 3 years of his life, he was chronically asthmatic and all sorts of crazy stuff. And we were medicating. And one day I had this revelation where I thought, I can't hold this kid down anymore to give him nebulizer treatments, because it's not good for my soul and as a parent. And I thought, I've got to be missing something. And I started reading about nutrition and understanding nutrition, that, wow, you can eliminate high fructose corn syrup. You can eliminate dyes from your nutrition. Wow, when I eliminated dairy, my son actually quit coughing completely within 3 days. And so there was this whole nutritional side that literally could heal our bodies. And now I'm super passionate, Mark, about families getting well. Because I think if I didn't know, and I was teaching fitness at the time, I was a group fitness instructor, you know, so people say, oh, just because you're a fitness instructor, you must know. Hey, I didn't know anything about nutrition at that point when I was teaching fitness classes. And so I feel like after I had that real life experience where I was put in that position with my son and helping him to get better and to well, my message is now the whole world needs to hear about PFC Every 3 like a baby and Zen Project 8, because it truly is the program that the entire family does. My family eats the same way I eat. We eat meals together. You know, they know what a protein is. They know what a fat is. They know what a carb, they know how to nourish themselves. And the Zen Project 8 fits in perfectly with that because my family has I always say a shake a day will keep the doctor away. Now don't quote that, but that's what I really believe because it's got the probiotic in there. It's got the dietary fiber. It's got that great protein for those developing little muscles. And I just read an article actually that said that children under the age of 18 have 30% of the protein consumption that they should be having. And so that's causing these problems with growth development and joint and all this sort of thing. And so I thought that's so true. Kids are feeding on sugar and fruit snacks and pop and crazy things, right? And so my mission is to get families well, Mark. I mean, I love helping people to lose weight. It starts with the mamacita momita. When she gets healthy, the whole family wins because now she's the one buying the groceries. She's the one preparing the meals. She's the one teaching her family. And just like this morning, I had this wonderful woman I was weighing and measuring at my house. And she said, I used to say when my kids would say, Mom, can I have this? She would say, I don't care. And she said, you know what I did? She said, I took the word I don't care out of my vocabulary in the last week with my children. She's doing detox. And she said, I'm never going to say I don't care again because I do care. Because if I don't care about their nutrition, who's going to care about their nutrition, right? And I'm like, bingo, you're getting it, Mom. So really for me, it's like I've been through this kind of to hell and back with my health, with my own personal health. And I just feel like that message was never for nothing. It was always for something. It was for me to sit here tonight and say, your family can be well. Zen Project 8 and the community is all part of that. I mean, it's great for our families. It's great for our kids. It really is the lifelong program. So that's
awesome. And what I love about what you just said, Renita, is like, so that's Renita's big story. But then she could have done many stories based upon the detox lady you just talked about, based upon Sky Zone. There's all these little, look at it. So the first assignment for everyone watching is you need to write down your own story, your own health story, okay? And then connect your Zen story into that. But don't worry about starting now. If you're a month in or 6 months in ZP8, you must have had a story before ZP8. There must have been a story behind that led you down the path of what you're doing. Leverage that. Make sure. So why does your story matter? Write that down. How does it inspire others? And what's the call to action? That's your first assignment. Now, the second one, before we do some mini stories, is I have a business story. Because remember, when we look at this, we have a health story about why they should use ZP8, but there's a business story too. My two greatest passions in life is to educate the world to no longer diet, and then also to help fellow entrepreneurs create financial freedom. And I'm going to share why that is for me. You know, back in 1999, opened up our first nutrition practice in Venice Beach, California. Started teaching nutrition. Over 4 years, we had 6 nutrition practices. 2003, I'm in California. I'm in LA. We live in Valencia, California. It's only about 20 miles away, but with LA traffic, it's a 2-hour drive. Every day I get up at 4 in the morning. I had to drive. I worked out. I saw clients from 7 to 3:30, ran the other practices, would have to hustle home, wouldn't get home probably until about 8, worked on other things. And me and Abby, we had some QT in us, some quality time, but not a lot. And then in 2003, Abby said, hey, Mark, I want to have a family. And I'm thinking to myself, my dad was always there for me. What type of dad am I going to be? And I had to take a step back and say, what life do I want to live?
Right.
Do I actually want to just sell my time? And at that time, I realized that there had to be a better way. Now, ZP8 didn't exist. Jeunesse didn't exist. These are things. So this is back in 2003. You know, the internet was just getting started. So I had to, at that time, realize, how do I duplicate myself? And that's what I went, that's the path I went down. You know, I started looking at, as a health professional, how can I duplicate myself? How can I live at home? How can I create different streams of revenue? How can I look at cash flow for time, duplicating myself, and residual revenue? And as an entrepreneur, it started opening up my pathways of financial freedom. And, you know, fast forward now, I became the dad I wanted to be. We have a 12-year-old son, Hunter. Yeah, I'm at the tournament with him. We're going to Alabama next weekend. He travels with me all over. We got our baby girl, Hope. So these are the things that mattered. And throughout the whole journey, through the 12 years of Hunter's life, you know, Abby had a couple miscarriages. There were tough times there. But because of what we've been able to do from a financial side, it opened up pathways. And that's why it matters so much to me. That's why I love the partnership with Jeunesse. That's why I love what we're doing with ZP8, because we're not just changing people's health. We're providing people the opportunity to become financially free, whatever that means for someone, whether that means living in and sharing and making a couple $100, whether it means leading a health movement in your community. There's a difference you can make. So everyone, that's a story I would tell about my entrepreneurship, because you need both stories. If you're just living ZP8 and sharing it, you don't need an entrepreneur story. You can just have your own story and you can share it. But if you want to build ZP8, the number one question someone's going to ask you is, what's your story? How are you doing it? And if you don't have a story, if you haven't really written it down and can repeat it and speak with passion, then people aren't going to hear you. Okay, Renita, tell us your entrepreneur story.
Mark, I want to tell you, but I want to tell you one thing when you said that, that's so true, because if you're out there just talking ZP8 and you're not talking about your entrepreneurial story at all, or the business side of it, you will sign up customers. I will tell you that. You'll sign up customers, you know, making $90 on a Zen Transform kit here and there. You will do that. But if you're really looking to build a long-term residual income, you have to have entrepreneur story. You have to, Mark. It's impossible to do the business at long term and really create a massive organization of duplication without that. So my story is very simple, much like yours.
And Renita, just interact on any business, not just not Duracell. These are what we're teaching you isn't about Jeanette, or I mean, it's about just basic fundamentals of leading something and having someone. People, if you want people to follow you, they have to know who they're following.
Exactly.
And without a story, they're not following you.
Yeah. And the question I always ask is, would you follow you? You know, ask yourself that.
That's a good question. Everyone write that down too. That's your fourth one. Would you follow
you? Follow you? But my story goes like this. We literally I was working my tail off. I was in school for my doctorate in holistic nutrition. We had just had our second son, Truett, who's now 10. He was a baby at the time. Someone introduced me to network marketing. I wasn't at all interested. I owned a gym here in Bismarck. I was literally teaching 16 exercise classes a week. Had about 30 clients a week. It was an awesome little studio, but to put it plainly, I was exhausted. I would come home, I would try to nurse the baby. I'd try to write these 600, 700, 20-page papers. And I remember one day I just said to Scott, he's like, we want to go to the park with our oldest son, Bo. And I'm like, he was like 6 at the time. I said, I can't go to the park. I've taught 4 exercise classes today. I'm exhausted. And all of a sudden I thought, what am I saying? Like, here I am pouring into the world and I can't even spend any time with my family, right? Like, because I was so tired out. And I literally started thinking there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And Scott, my husband, he's so smart with financial literacy. He said to me, Renita, you need to take a look at network marketing. And I was like, what is that? He's like, well, you tell people about products all day, every day. And if you're a massage therapist or a hairdresser or a personal trainer watching this, or even a person that just likes certain products and you're on social media saying, hey, have you tried this? We all naturally talk about products. But Scott said, if you could find one that actually would pay you for talking about it, that would be a great thing. He said, because what would happen? What's your plan B, Renita? What would happen if you'd break your leg? Who would teach all those 18 exercise classes a week that you're teaching? And I thought to myself, no one could. I'd have to hire 3 or 4 instructors to do that, And so it really got me thinking, what is my plan B? I don't have a plan B. I'm grinding, I'm working myself to the bone here, but I can't duplicate myself anymore. There's not any more hours in the day, and I'm already exhausted. There's got to be a better way financially. And that's when somebody actually introduced me to network marketing, and I said no 3 times. So it's funny how that works, because I thought the business wasn't for me, but really it was a little bit of ignorance. I didn't understand the opportunity. I didn't understand the industry, the community, the great people that you have access to, and that it's literally a community of character development. That's what I feel what network marketing is, Mark. It's a character where you're going to continue to grow, and the more you grow, the more money you're going to earn, the more people you are helping. I mean, it's just amazing. And so to make a long story short, I got started, didn't think it was going to be something that I was going to quit my full-time job for. And within 4 months, I had actually replaced the income I was making at my gym. And then we had options. I always say money doesn't buy you freedom, but money buys you options. And at that point, I had an option. Should I continue working like a sled dog from 4 a.m. until 11 p.m.? Or should I really kind of just get over myself and kind of step into this opportunity and this plan B and really go all in because it's working and people are getting healthy and they love it and they're telling others about it and it's like spreading like wildfire. And so for me, it was just literally, I shut down my gym, Mark. I kind of pushed all the chips in on the table and I said, let's do it, let's go for it. And I think that's a big key is, if you're going to do it as a business opportunity, go all in. For me, I wasn't 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Let's see if this thing works for the next 6 months. I literally shut down my gym. And I was like, this is going to work and this is going to rock. And I'm telling you what, it has been just better and better and better. Now we're 10 years into that. And it was one of the best decisions of my life, for sure. No question about it. Because had I not done that, I wouldn't have met you 5.5, 6 years ago. And we wouldn't be sharing the message because I literally prayed to God, how do I permanently solve weight loss? I'm sick of people of yo-yo dieting. And about a week later, Mark McDonald called me on the phone. I mean, that's how it worked. I prayed about it and Mark calls me.
Well, and
it's crazy.
And the power of the whole thing, I just want to state to everyone, there's no income stuff here that we're talking about. What we're talking about is just real life opportunity for people. And these are storytelling. So Renita's story is powerful from that side, but Renita's done more than just network marketing. She's built a brand and a following and she grows. And that's what I love. She goes to GoPro. She goes to Eric Worre's conventions every year. So she's made it she has other lanes she rocks hard, but this is a big one that she's developed her skill set in because that's what this is. If you're living ZPA, you live it. If you're sharing it, you share it. But if you're building it, you got to get really serious about how are you building it? How are you developing your skill set? I love that story, Renita.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things in my life was meeting you. You know that, you and the Brandon family.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
So last story. So you now have an idea of a health story and an entrepreneur story. So your assignments are going to be simple. Make sure, why does your story matter? How does it inspire others? And what's the call to action? So think about that. Write it down in video. Now, those are your two big stories. And then you can always cut them down into 3-minute stories or minute stories. But then I also want to do one quick example of a mini story. And you can use this to inspire people who are having tough moments, or you can do a Facebook Live on it. And you've heard me many times talk about my 1% stories. I'm going to share that with you tonight. That's a story that I love because it connects to people, business-wise or health-wise. But this is how I would start off the story. Growing up, I couldn't communicate. I vividly remember asking my mom for a banana, and she was sitting at the kitchen counter, and she said, Mark, what do you need? I said, a banana. And she said, what do you need? I said, a banana. She looked at me like, what am I talking about? And in my head, I was saying a banana, but from 0 to 7, I could not speak. I couldn't form words, so no one could understand me. So it sounded like I was saying it, but no one would hear that. And my mom and dad came home a couple days later, and they wanted to hold me back from going to 2nd grade. And, I can tell this story as many times as possible, and it still reminds me of being that 7-year-old boy that was in pain, feeling like the world was collapsing on me. And I felt like I couldn't communicate with the world. And my challenge is I would do anything to go on to 2nd grade. And I said, Mom, Dad, you can't hold me back. I can't handle anything else. And they said, okay, we'll find a solution. So they went and got me the best speech therapist. They got me into 2nd grade. And at that time, my mom and dad sat me back down and they said, listen, Mark, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have tough moments. You're going to want to quit, but you got to put the work in. You do it 1% at a time. And my dad about half hour later, he went into my room and he covered my entire wall with 1%. And over the next 4 years, every moment I wanted to quit, every moment I wanted to stop, every moment that it was painful because I was doing 2 hours a day, 6 days a week as a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old. And it felt like I wasn't getting better the first year. But every time I wanted to stop, I saw the 1%. And I said, I can do it 1% at a time. Fast forward 4 years later, I'm speaking normal. I still have speech challenges, but now I'm 44. I speak around the world. I did my own audiobook, which I would never do again. But understanding these things, I just want to share with you that 1% at a time, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to take your health to another level, whether you want to build a business. Don't worry about being all in. Don't worry about solving it tomorrow. Chip away 1% at a time and imagine where you're going to be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Incremental improvements. So everyone, that's a mini story taking a personal moment from me and then connecting it. And you can see all 3 stories I told, how each one will connect to an audience. And then obviously you guys heard me speak many times. I have tons of stories based upon my life experiences that will drive from that. But that's the authenticity that connects to people. Okay, Renita, give us your mini story.
I was going to tell you the only time that you have problems speaking now is when your blood sugar is low, right, Mark?
I know, that's true. Or when I'm tired.
Right? You know, here's the deal. I never in my life thought I'd be doing this business. I never really did. I'm passionate about people. What kind of shifted my mind with this entire opportunity is when I read a book. It was by Robert Kiyosaki. It was called Business School. And the subtitle was For People Who Like to Help People. And I thought, that's me. The people who like to help people. That's what network marketing is. That's what I'm about. I love to help people. And I really hadn't bridged the gap yet to go like all in from a business standpoint. I've always been passionate about wellness since I've been 14. I was already teaching people how to lift weights when I was 14, in my 20s. I mean, the whole time I was teaching and educating people, and I have a passion for people. But when we were actually first married, we had our second son, my sister-in-law, out of the blue, this is kind of what really shifted my mind to say, are you going to do this or not, Renita? I had a phone call from my sister-in-law, and she kind of worked for like the CSI up here in North Dakota. And she said, Renita, have you gone to that website and saw where all the sex offenders are in your neighborhood? And I was like, no, what is that website, you know? And we lived in this little house, Scott and I, over on 14th Street. And it was a duplex. I had my workout facility in the basement where I actually trained a lot of my really morbidly obese clients or my elderly clients. And then we lived upstairs in just about like 900 square feet. It was very small. There was 4 of us there and a dog. And all of a sudden, my sister-in-law said, look at this website. So I checked this website out. And on this website, within a 6-block radius, Mark, I had about 9 sex offenders. Wow. One of them was like 2 doors down, and it was a high-risk sex offender. And in that instant, you know how there's just this moment in time where something shifts inside you where you say, that's enough. Like, I can't live here anymore. I can't do this. We're barely getting by financially. I'm passionate about people, but I got to get out of this neighborhood. And I literally wanted to go out because at the time we had our son, Bo, who was 6, and Truett was a newborn. And I thought, I can't even let Bo out to play basketball because I got this high-risk sex offender 2 doors down in this crummy area. And all of a sudden, something shifted in me where I said, you know what? I'm going to start talking about this opportunity. I'm going to start talking about this as a business opportunity. I'm going to make sure people know that I want them to be well and healthy and to get healthy with this opportunity, with these nutritional products. But I want them to also know that I'm building a business and I'm looking for people who want more for their families, who want a bigger dream than living in a house, you know, with sex offenders all around. They want more for their families. They're dreaming bigger than maybe the average person. And so I went into my gatherings, because I've always had weekly gatherings, with a different spirit. It was like a spirit of like, I want to help you get well. This is how we're going to do it. It's going to work. It's incredible for you. But you know what? If you're looking for a plan B, if you're looking for something extra on the side, maybe it's an extra $500 a month, maybe it's an extra $1,000 a month. I don't know. Everybody's goals are different. But if you're looking for that, I have something. And the reason I have it is because I'm getting out of the ghetto. I'm getting out of this neighborhood, and I'm moving into a house where my boys can play basketball, and they can do it without me watching them like a hawk. And I'm very excited about that. So I started speaking very boldly about that, where before I was almost kind of embarrassed, Mark, a little bit about the opportunity side of things. But as soon as my sister-in-law showed me that, in that instant, it was a game changer for me. And I thought, I'm doing this. And I'm doing this for so many reasons. I'm doing this because I am a person who likes to help people, like the book title told me. That was me. But I also love the opportunity side of this, because there's got to be people out there watching this right now that says, you know what, an extra $500 a month, an extra $6,000 a year would be a huge blessing to my family financially, right? Maybe it is an upgrade in the home, or maybe a new car or something. I don't know what it is. But for me in that moment, it was getting my kid into a safe environment, my family into a safe environment. So I don't know. That's a story. It really wasn't condensed, but usually when I tell people, they're like, yeah. No, I want more.
That's a mini story. It's because it's not your main story, but it's a moment story. It's a moment in your life. And that's probably what I would suggest everyone to do, your moment stories. If you heard my stories, you heard Renita's story, it just makes you want to do something. If you're listening, it's an engaging story about hope and inspiration. And like we said, this isn't about people just, building a business. It's about reaching people from the point of the difference people want to make. And that's what we've done when we look at the partnership with Jeunesse, Zen Project 8, the opportunity, all of it. It's about creating a movement of health to help people become better at what they're doing. And that's what these Share It and Build It webcasts are. So here are your assignments, everyone. Number one, why does my story matter? This is 3 simple steps. Why does my story matter? How does it inspire? What's my call to action? You have 3 assignments, 3 stories: your health story, your entrepreneur story, and your actual moment story. The moment story, and you're going to have hundreds of moment stories, but choose one to start that actually can relate, can help people that you're speaking to. Write them down, video them, and then practice them. My invitation is for each of you to do a Facebook Live of your story by next Monday, before next Monday. Write down your story, video them, and then do a Facebook Live and go and share the world, really your story, covering those 3 simple steps. Renee, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I just want to say the Jeunesse mission statement. For those of you that never have read it, it's awesome. It says this, I just add one word to it. I add the word healthy, but it says the Jeunesse family creates positive impact in the world by helping people look and feel young and healthy while empowering each other to unleash our potential. That is it, baby. When I read that, I'm like, boy, I can sink my teeth into that and I can talk about that all day long. So if you don't have that written somewhere, and if you don't know that, you guys should go to your Jeunesse Global website and memorize that bad boy. And like I said, I just add the words in there, and healthy, because I really feel it's not just about looking young, because I know a lot of people that look young but are really unhealthy. I really love the idea of looking and feeling young and healthy. That goes together in my world. So if you're interested in that, and you're interested in helping others unleash the potential, then you're at the right place.
Love it. Okay, everyone, make this the week that you take your story to another level. Okay, we're back next week. We're going to have a special guest, Melissa Boston. The following week, we'll have Tanya Gustafsson. We got everyone lined up. If you want to be part of on the ZPA, if you want to be a guest on this webcast, we do it live here, but then we stream it on the ZPA Facebook page tomorrow. So if you want to be part of this, send us your story. Tell us how you're living it, your business, like how your entrepreneur story, and then we want to feature you on it. So get ready. The movement just getting stronger. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.